So, sir, it's not, again, don't get me wrong, I'm not sapping, I'm trying to be saying that this is the issue that I have faced for 25 years. It's not I'm coming here and speaking out of context and everything else. The issue is, what I feel sad is when equal opportunity is not given to my true Indian in many ways, right? And that is what I'm pushing for. I'm pushing for, this is where I can speak to, hopefully. This is where I speak to is saying that if energy efficiency ki baat kare, like average energy efficiency, if you go to any 7 states of Northeast or any in the rural areas, really the problems of energy efficiency, look at slum households, rural households, tribal households. Any of the income generating activities that they have to work on, silk weaving to rice mills to everything, we have not worked on. Who will work on? Who will take the championing of that? We can speak for generations, but until the IITs, what I'm telling by the students is not faulting the 2 students. I am saying that as a society, how inclusive are we in our thought process? You mistook my point. It's not about the students. It's how inclusive are we in our thought process. So if true innovation needs to happen, their inclusiveness, and I find energy efficiency in everything in the rural areas has a huge opportunity to actually increase where the overall resource that we require, whether it's coal or oil or foreign, in terms of any foreign fuels, it's not needed once we look at efficiency at the grassroots level. We are still looking at low-hanging fruits, and what they have worked for last 30 years, whether it's brick in many of the brick in the rural areas or in terms of rice mills that you guys have worked on in pellet making, I think that's where the tremendous potential is for innovation as a country. I'm looking at combination of energy efficiency and sensitivity. It's not about what you talk on lowering the sap of the energy. It's about, that's the true reality, sir. That's, yeah.
I think that the direction is changing for the better. If you look at the last 30 years period, the last 5 years making change, we are making positive change. Let me put that.
If I can have the final word, I think I agree fully with him, because if you were to look at the youngsters today, and I wish they could have been part of this kind of a discourse.
There are a few over there.
Okay, because we mostly don't call, undergrad, college students or school students, and they come up with fantastic ideas, but they are extremely optimistic of the future. So that's the generation which is going to make the difference, and probably they would bring in this inclusiveness which he's talking about.
So from a human energy to the energy, there are some points that Professor has identified. Any thoughts on that, Rajiv? Would like to ask him some questions about how the government goes about auditing energy, how the transmission energy.
Simple question to us, sir. You've been working in the field of buildings for many, many years. When do you think, which part of the ecosystem that will actually bring in true building codes?
They've already come into the commercial space. In the residential space, there are issues other than just plain regulation. There is that issue of corruption. There is the issue of black money. There's multiple reasons why builders are resisting having these codes being enforced on them. So again, we are back to the same thing, that unless we can change mindsets, it's not going to be easy.
How do you change mindsets?
It's the youngsters. It'll be the next generation. And I think the more we try and imbibe these values and these thoughts into the college and school students, these conferences won't help. It's going to be when these thoughts are percolated down into the curricula, or, in school, many years ago, I don't know if any of you remember, we used to have a subject called moral science. It's gone. It's not there anymore. And I think a lot of values which I have today were from those days when I was taught moral science. I mean, you needn't call it moral science. There are lots of values we can get from our own scriptures. But it's not being taught in school. And when you change values, all these thoughts of inclusiveness, everything will emerge from there.
I don't know if our audience wants to.
I'll give an example.
Sure.
So one of the genesis of Swachh Bharat, which is a huge campaign, government is spending a lot of money behind it, a lot of sensitization has done. Outcomes are still questionable. Is because the Prime Minister went to Japan, he went to a school and he saw that kids were cleaning up the school. And this is a regular culture in Japan. Every week, one class has to clean up the school. So as kids grow up, they take responsibility for their surroundings. Next time, I hope he goes to a country where they are sensitive about energy efficiency. Then he will start energy efficiency.
No, we can't depend on one person, sir.
No,
Right.
We are also
Bharat will be an energy efficient Bharat, hopefully. Sorry.
No, so how, I mean, coming back to you, sir, how do we, see the thing is that there is a difference between rural youth and urban youth, right? How do we create the equal platform for rural youth also to look at those opportunities?
By accelerating, hopefully, and helping you do the kind of things that you're doing in a bigger way. And fortunately now, I would say that, at least some digital social tools are available to take these stories to a much bigger audience. I love it when you say that the person who is really good at articulating in Hindi or Kannada and is, forced to read English and is not good at English lacks the opportunity that an English-speaking person will get in terms of risk capital. Some of us on the investor side are now looking at that and say, why? I mean, the best entrepreneurs, even in India today, need not be the best English spokesperson. So those barriers are breaking down, but yes, it could be accelerated.